Hello everyone, my name is JohnnyFerno. Welcome back to the next reaction video where this time it is going to be top 15 roguelike video games by the Green Scorpion. And if I suspect correctly that he is going to be watching this whenever I post it out, then hi Oscar, hope you're going to enjoy this little escapade into your list. Everyone in the chat, say hi to you too. So, top 15 roguelike video games. I have been excited to watch this video in particular because, well, for some reason within the last 2 years, I have been getting so much into roguelike video games. I even been playing them a lot. Of course, the classic, the Binding of Isaac. I've of course been playing Hades a lot. I have played Among the Storm. That is technically a roguelike. I have been playing. I've just purchased Enter the Gungeon recently because I want to get into that one. It's and the Loop Hero. There's, I guess you can also count Bellatro as a roguelike. There's been so many roguelikes, and so many of them that I've been interested in trying. Oh, also FTL, Faster Than Light, that's also a roguelike. There's apparently roguelike video games just tickle a certain part of my brain. Among Us being made into a roguelike. You are lying. Among Us as a no. No. If you see this poop, Johnny, goddamn it, writer. Well, yeah, so I'm very excited. Also, of course, on the screen, Darkest Dungeon. That's also a freaking roguelike. So I love reacting and watching videos that I like. Of course, I like watching things that I'm know nothing about, so I can be reintroduced to it. But it's also, I guess, so much more fun watching a video about something that I do know stuff about, so I can interact more with it. So yeah, I'm very excited to hear what he thinks and what picks he's going to take, how many of them I recognize that I can actually comment on, and how many of them I'm going to learn about. So yeah, let's waste no more time, dear friends. Let us watch top 15 roguelike video games by the Green Scorpion. And also, guys, please do tell if the video or me should be lowered in volume. Let's go. In memory of Wayne right. Wayne June's performance as the ancestors struck both fear and love into the hearts of many gamers. One sec, Jack. One sec, my good people. There we go. That was a bot that came into the chat. Apologies about that. Anyway, yeah, struck both fear and love into the hearts of many gamers. He will forever be forever remembered as the voice who tempered our confidence and bolstered our courage. Thank you, Wayne. Rest in peace. We shall give you. Yeah, yeah. Like he said, the ancestors voice actor passed recently, and just he did amazing work. Just all of the respect. All of the respect to the man. Alright. Okay, I'm ready. Maybe I should lower a little bit. Okay, again, you guys tell me what you think. I can see the one. I can see the one. I think it's a lower level. Take down about half. That should be fine. You guys say if that is too much or too little. Usually watch these videos and hope I see something interesting on you. Exactly. Exactly. Right, but yeah, you guys say if video volume is fine. Otherwise, we could too. I just cut it down to 50% basically. But we'll see. Maybe I'll take it up a little bit. There we go. Should be fine. Alright, let's go. Tell me about him, Oscar. Tell me about him. Oh, is that technically a roguelike? I guess.
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Indeed.
Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and today we're... Let me redo that. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, inviting you to celebrate a genre of game that's really been monopolizing my time lately. The roguelike.
I'm not the only one.
Inspired by old dungeon crawlers like Rogue in 1980, the roguelike is an impromptu category of game categorized by two main qualities: procedural generation and permadeath. Usually the game's pretty short, theoretically, but the randomized level design and the item spawns mean that you never know exactly what to expect. And if you mess up too much, you're gonna start over from the start. Start beginning. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and there are lots of ways to—
Oh my god, and he's keeping it he's doing the entire paragraph. No cutting in this, so he's doing the entire goddamn thing. Also, I see the bit now. I just realized the bit he's doing. Well played.
Make a good roguelike. Any genre and any theme can be turned into that just one more run kind of experience.
Yeah.
So I couldn't possibly narrow it down to just 10 entries. We're looking for games that are addictive, inventive, long-lasting, and hair-graying. Something that you could spend years mastering. Obviously, my choices are going to be pretty subjective here, but let's define the scope a bit. First of all, many gamers will make the distinction between roguelike and roguelite. The former being games that truly make you start over, while the latter incorporates some form of progress in between runs, such as permanent stat buffs. That is an important—
Oh, first off, Loop Hero. Cool game. Also, yeah, that is true. There is a difference between roguelikes that takes everything away, like you completely back at square one, and then there's a kind of like you gradually, like, you gain access to better, like, upgrades, stats, characters, stuff like that.
Difference, but for the sake of this list, I'll be referring to both as roguelike.
Okay.
I will not, however, include any titles where the repeatable runs aren't the main focus. Commerce-based games like Moonlighter, Dave the Diver, and even the mines in Stardew Valley feature roguelike elements, but not enough for me to truly see them as roguelikes.
Yeah,
As for the randomized levels in Persona 3, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and so forth, I'd say that those aren't roguelikes. They just share a common ancestor in old dungeon crawlers. Yeah. And lastly, and this is gonna blow your mind, I haven't actually played every video game in existence, so chances are some people's favorites aren't gonna make it today.
What am I even doing here then? What am I even doing? You say you haven't played every single game that has ever existed. How actually dare you? Yeah, Venomane is right in the chat. Fake gamer. Fake gamer have not played every video game in existence, calls himself a video game countdown maker. I mean, the absolute audacity. I will keep watching though, because I just want to see how fake your opinions are.
Have some mercy on me. I'm not perfect. I just like games that demand perfection. So, let's get ready to get good. I'm the Green Scorpion, and these are my top 10 roguelike video games.
Give it to me.
15. Damn it! Oh.
Ha!
Okay. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and today we're going to be talking about my top 15 roguelike video games, a genre that has been gaining serious mainstream popularity in the current zeitgeist. So many developers seem to have garnered it.
Viewer description of advice. Cartoon violence and dark themes. I immediately think Binding of Isaac.
Let's start off with some heresy. The Binding of Isaac.
Binding of Isaac at the first spot on the list. Yeah, I can see it being controversial with some, because this is, as far as I've seen, considered to be like the roguelike video game. Like, of course, like not rogue, but like in the popular sense of me. To many, this was their first roguelike, and so okay, I'm just gonna.
Not only is this game sort of about heresy, I'm sure that to many, I'm a heretic for ranking it so low. I have my reasons, but first, attention must be paid. This game is almost solely responsible for the modern interest in the roguelike genre.
This is what I tried to say, but Oscar's better with words than me.
Fresh off his success with Super Meat Boy, Edmund McMillen decided to create a game about a sad, sad boy. Vaguely inspired by his own upbringing with his religiously extreme mother, and now I can see why all of his games are about the player torturing themselves.
Dark.
That said, it's an unforgiving but very fun dungeon crawler, taking on a top-down perspective that evokes the original Legend of Zelda. And from its original Flash version in 2011 to its most recent remake, this game has only continued to grow, featuring more playable characters.
There are entire YouTube channels based all around just Binding of Isaac and not only unlocking every single item, doing specific challenges, specific runs, and also just trying out the incredible amount of mods this game has gotten. Like, this is maybe one of the most modded games I've ever seen.
Characters, items, routes, and bosses than any other roguelike, I think. Even now, 13 years later, this game is still supported by the developer, each update housing plenty of loving secrets and Easter eggs that pay homage to the roguelike genre as it's evolved since the game's inception. And gaming as a whole, if I'm being honest. This devotion is only matched by the community that's formed around it, which I think is absolutely vital to the experience. Like, the original game was certainly cryptic, none of the items having any text to explain what they do.
Yeah. The real Binding of Isaac experience is to get an item, see like what it is, the brief description the game gives you, and then try and guess what it does. Sometimes it's completely not what you expect it to be. I don't know how many times I had to visit the wiki. I've tried like playing Binding of Isaac with like a tab open on my second screen. That's just all of the items in the game, so I can always be like, I don't know what that one. What is it?
But that only spurred a ravenous community to help newbies learn the ropes. Or in this case, learn
Damn.
the entrails. And this leads into the reason why I don't think this game quite clicks with everyone. It's freaking gross.
Oh yeah.
The characters are crude and cartoony, everything's blood and guts and feces. Not enough to make me feel sick, but enough to seriously wig me out. Which, to be fair, is probably how Macmillan wants me to feel. There's artistry in this unpleasantness, but to me, it also makes a lot of the enemies blend together since I don't want to examine them any closer. And the game's engine has withstood the test of time, but only barely. Its mechanics and controls are a bit bland by today's standards, which will be ably met by the next 14 entries. Still, The Binding of Isaac is an amazing case study of a game, and I can see why many players rack up thousands of hours crying bullets at these angry tumors.
Oh, yeah.
It inspired a ton of future developers, even catching the interest of companies like Hoyoverse with the Bizarre Brigade minigame in Zenless. So, hats off and a huge thank you to
go
one
back,
of
go
the
back.
earliest indie roguelikes.
I'm on the wrong freaking window. Go back.
Endless.
I thought for a sec this redhead, this ginger pirate was Jesse Cox. For a split, I thought for a split second.
And a huge thank you to one of the earliest indie roguelikes,
YouTuber,
along with Spelunky, who's my honorary number 16. What? I got a lot of games to cover. Quit looking at me with them big old eyes.
Oh God. Ah, Spelunky. Another game I've heard just to be completely ruthless and no mercy.
Now that we've paid tribute to the old guard, let's greet the youngest game on this list.
Yes.
Bellatro. Cards are
Guys, I swear I'm okay. See, I've not streamed the game in a long while. I've been playing lots of it in my free time and trying to do challenges and consider to like stream it, but I'm fine, chat, I'm fine. It's a really fun game. Look, the highs you get are high, okay?
extremely common motif for roguelikes. In most of them, you're amassing different weapons or relics or abilities, so contextualizing these as cards and making a deck builder just makes sense. But usually the deck building is abstract, representing you fighting monsters or something else exciting.
Yeah.
In Bellatro, you're actually playing cards.
It's a poker deck builder roguelike. I love it.
Crazy, kooky, cheating cards. Based around poker, a run of Bellatro sees you drawing from your deck and trying to present the best hand you can, be that a flush, a straight, two of a kind, or what have you.
Yeah.
After a few hands, you take your winnings to the shop where you can buy more cards for your deck to improve your odds in the next round. These include jokers that act as passive buffs and increase your point gain in certain hands, or even tarot cards that turn everything on their head. Based on what cards show up for you to buy, you'll find yourself adjusting your strategy, maybe to get more 3-card hands, maybe to prioritize pairs, anything to make those numbers go up. Now, cards on the table for a moment. I'm a guy who really likes poker. I play plenty of hands with the mates at the inventory, and as a poker appreciator, I like how this game can take the well-known mechanics of that game and then deconstruct and remix it into something more bombastic. It's kind of like going from Pac-Man to Pac-Man Championship Edition, where you're
you're
now racking up crazy scores with ridiculous combos in what is ostensibly the same game. Although that new Shadow Labyrinth game might have something to say about that.
Oh boy.
Interestingly though, Bellatro doesn't preview your score until you finalize your move, which
has
prompted modders in the community to create point calculators in the game that might help you maximize your play. And I think that's a fine tool if you want to use it, but I also think that the joy of this game is the moment you grit your teeth and watch the game's UI count up your points.
I was just about to say that half of the tension in this game is praying that the combo you've set up will work. Like I've actually I've not done this in the late game in builds because that's in runs because that's just not possible for me at least. But I've had set in the early first blinds and just calculating. Okay, do that plus that plus that. Okay, that should be enough. So, I would never install the mod that tells you what the total will be, because that just takes half the fun out of it for me, so I agree with him. Oh, I bumped my mic.
Making this quiet tabletop game feel like winning big on the slots. This is the only game on this.
Also, I'm so sorry. This is me who has just been playing this game for a long time, but I wish he chose footage with like higher game speed. It's just like, keep going.
List without traditional bosses. Instead, you have blinds with minimum point thresholds
Exactly
across
what I mean.
and temporary modifiers to the rules. But it's casino levels of addicting without fear of actual bankruptcy. Which, fittingly, also comes with a lack of control that's familiar to anyone who's been to a casino. After a while, it comes to a point where you need to roll for specific seeds in order to win games. And the real draw of this game for many people is after you beat the roguelike and unlock the endless score attack mode, perfect for anyone aiming to test the limits of their skill.
Yeah.
It's part Solitaire, part Texas Hold'em, part Dominion. And for a weird combination like that, I'm all in.
It's so goddamn good. It's dangerous to get because it can become a legit kind of addiction. Just like, no idea. It's one of the best ways I've experienced that. Oh no, just one more game. Just one more run. I'm sure I can get like if I just got these specific jokers. If I just get a holograph in the beginning, then I can, and I just keep adding cards to my deck. The multiplier becomes high enough that combined with like and then I can get a blueprint to double that effect, and then I get other multipliers as. Hello everyone, it's the Buddy Raid! Neville, thank you so much for the raid. How you doing, bud? Oh, I'm being distracted now. Katri, you're breaking it! Katri, stop, you're breaking it! Katri! You're actually breaking it! Hello everyone. Indeed. But hi everyone! You came in the middle of my pretend Bellatro addicting rant. That was amazing. Perfect timing.
Just to give you an idea of how close this list got for me, at number 13, we have a game that I've often seen as other people's number 1. Enter the Gungeon.
I just bought this game recently. I haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, I know he may not say I don't think he's gonna say things that I don't know already, because I know it's a Gungeon. There's puns everywhere, and all of the bosses are based on gun puns. It's apparently like more like a bullet hell roguelike sort of thing. I'm very excited to try it out at some point. Maybe I'll stream it. I'll decide to do it. I'll decide on that. But either way, tell me about it, Oscar.
And honestly, for good reason. Enter the Gungeon applies the roguelike formula to a top-down twin-stick shooter, which is now a popular combination for games like Nuclear Throne or...
Oh wait, Neville, it has a co-op? I did not know that. Just gonna go back a little bit.
To a top-down twin-stick shooter, which is now a popular combination for games like Nuclear Throne or Axolotl. But you could argue that Gungeon is the best at mixing this particular cocktail. Granted, the early stages can be pretty rough when you're first getting a knack for it. You start with your choice of 4 Gungeoneers, but every advantage you acquire comes with a drawback. The Convict has a nice rage mechanic, but you're losing out on that much-needed armor that the Marine has. But the Marine also only starts with 1 gun. The Hunter starts with 2 and has a dog that can randomly find items, but it feels like that never actually happens. There's never enough keys for chests, so the pilot can pick locks, but that has a low chance to succeed and leaves the chest perma-locked upon failure. So is it even worth doing? Every choice I made felt wrong at first, but the hard truth is, the best choice is to get good. You have a really versatile dodge roll and consumable blanks that let you clear the screen of bullets, but the trick to improvement is learning when to get away with not using these. Only then can you internalize enemy patterns, and these enemies are very memorable, partially for the shameless puns. The Gorgon, the Ammoconda, the Beholster. God, how do I exit this pungent? But the real stars of the show are the guns. They're like characters in their own right, with equally...
Oh, yeah, I've seen the bullet dudes. I've seen those bullet dudes everywhere. I believe there is like a custom deck in Bellatro where like, I think it's the diamonds, where like one of the custom like images you can have for them are like Gungeon inspired, and I believe the bullet boys are some of them.
Punny names and featuring unexpected synergies with other guns and items to make some truly ridiculous projectiles.
Okay.
This is also the game's main source of meta progression. While other games earn the title of Roguelite by offering ways to permanently upgrade your character between runs, Gungeon's approach is instead a series of stores.
And also, for the few of you who cares and are curious, I will return to playing Hades 2 at some point. I think I just stopped because it was in early access, and therefore it's like, I guess part of me just didn't want to finish everything and then come back later. So, like, I guess part of me just wanted to play it once everything was out. But now it's been such a long time, I've wondered, like, maybe I should go back and play it again and continue. Because there's such a big bunch of things that's been added. So I may go back to it at some point.
That you can unlock in the main hub, allowing you to purchase new guns and items. Rather than giving you this purchase gear directly, however, these weapons are instead added to the rotation of random drops and loot that you can find in the gungeon. So while you're not gaining stats or power, you're slowly increasing the likelihood that you'll find
spawns? Oh! You know spawns?
Hello, I'm Spons!
Wait, you watch Canicarus? I didn't know you did that, dude. Hello, I'm Spons! But yeah, I got it, dude. I got it, plushie. Canicarus is goddamn amazing. I had been wondering about maybe reacting to Canicarus stuff, or I should be more specific to say his newer stuff. Because I've basically seen all of his old stuff. But I didn't know if it was right for my channel. But maybe it is. Maybe it is. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Some overpowered combination on your next run. Which, to be fair, isn't all that overpowered once you see what some of these bosses can do. You're at the whims of RNG, but it's balanced in such a way that you're always rewarded for fighting back as hard as you can. And while doing research for this entry, I was astounded.
Is that a Metal Gear? That looks like straight up like a Metal Gear from, well, Metal Gear Solid.
By just how deep this game gets with its secrets and side quests. There's unlockable characters, hidden optional floors, a boss fight with a rat that turns into Punch-Out at the end.
What?
Truly ludicrous stuff that you'd probably only find out with the help of this game's passionate community. Heck,
okay.
Have you heard of the Gunslinger character? Unlocking him basically requires you to beat 2 runs in a row without dying, both ending in a battle with the ultimate super boss. This isn't even about getting good anymore, you need to get great. Well, as a famous philosopher once said, if you're in danger, use a gun.
Yeah.
And if that don't work, use
Morgan. Use Morgan. The engineer, ahead of his time. Ahead of his time.
I often think of Crypt of the Necrodancer as a sister game of sorts to Enter the Gungeon. Both are top-down procedural dungeon crawlers, but side by side, they show just how creative you can be with this concept. One's ammunition-based with full circular aiming, the other uses more traditional fantasy weaponry.
It's literally a roguelike rhythm game. It's really cool.
Locks everything into a grid, and did I mention it's also a rhythm game? Yeah, everything in Necrodancer is set to the beat of this game's amazing soundtrack. Enemies, traps, even your own character. This does make the game more about strategy and situational awareness than the song itself, but it's definitely a major factor in how you approach the game, forcing you to count squares to your target. There's even a little leeway in movement. You won't be directly penalized for missing a beat by standing still, but keeping a combo going increases a multiplier for drop gold that you'll need to buy equipment, which is incentive enough to strive for perfection. To compensate for that extra bit of work that your brain is doing, combat and interaction with the crypt is simplified to use the same buttons as movement. And besides simplifying your choices, the grid gives the game an old-school D&D vibe, along with the equipment slots for weapons, armor, headgear, boots, and rings. On top of that is an entire category of torches to determine how far ahead you can see, limited use magic scrolls and bombs, and shovels that let you dig through certain walls and reshape the playing field on the fly. It's a lot of very simple systems layered on top of each other, with each new piece of equipment changing the rules of that mechanic.
Okay.
Maybe you'll get a sword that lets you move forward and stab at the same.
I do have to admit, I don't think I'm ever gonna play this game because I think it's all a little bit too much for me visually. Like, my brain gets a bit confused with, like, the changing colors of the floor and everything. I think maybe it will overstimulate me a little bit. But otherwise, it sounds like a really, really cool concept.
Time, or a shovel that automatically clears the dirt on adjacent squares as you go, or a light source that illuminates more if you maintain your combo. And similar to Enter the Gungeon, Crypt of the Necrodancer adds new items over time with its meta progression, letting you spend diamonds to add better gear to the rotation. Taking it a step beyond, you can also pay to have gear that you don't like removed from the rotation, so you can get more of the loot that you actually want. There's even a shop that lets you spend diamonds to start with certain items on your next run, which is great for a head start. And diamonds disappear after you leave the hub anyway, so you're incentivized to spend them somehow, and since they only apply to the next run, they're never too cheap. Alternatively, you can spend your diamonds on the bestiary room to let you practice on the bosses that you'll face. And yes, this game is just as...
Coral Rift, oh my god, I love it.
Spawniest Gungeon. Dead Ringer, Coral
Fortissimo.
Rift, Fortissimo. And I want to point out King Konga in particular for this little trick, where the head
King Konga!
in the song doesn't actually have a beat. You ever join in on a line dance at a wedding, but then you do the wrong move and you feel like an idiot? Well, now imagine if that caused you to be swarmed by zombies. Crypt of the Necrodancer is that song that gets stuck in your head in video game form. You'll be tapping your fingers and visualizing the patterns all day until you get back in there and smash that evil loot.
Oh goodness, yeah, I think this game's a little bit too visually stimulating.
Just missing
for
the
me.
top 10, we have yet another drastic tone shift into the dour
Don't
world
Starve.
of Don't Starve.
Right. Is it?
From the same studio that
I thought it was just like a survival game. I didn't know it was a roguelike.
introduces to the top ninja in gaming, Don't Starve puts a modern spin on the roguelike by comparing it to the survival genre.
Oh.
Runs in most roguelikes comfortably fit within a half an hour, but permadeath is even scarier when it threatens to end the campaign that you've been playing for days. As the name suggests, Don't Starve presents more long-term problems to your survival,
Emerald.
dropping you in the middle of the wilderness with a health, sanity, and hunger meter to maintain. Players will need to hunt and gather their food, craft sources of light to drive off, and even maintain their core temperature in the hotter and colder months. Not that there's any lack of hostile creatures waiting just outside of your view. Monsters like roaming spiders and hounds will even invade your camp from time to time. And while this may sound like a more defensive experience, one of the worst things you can do is turtle up when there's work to be done. You'll burn through local resources quickly, and if you're not proactive in gathering beefalo hair for coats and inventing new machines for your camp, you'll find it nearly impossible to survive once winter rolls around. This game is an arms race between you and nature, and I'm not gonna lie, it gives me some serious anxiety. Without experience in the
only
game,
imagine.
you won't know what resources to prioritize in order to craft the recipes that you want, or how to respond to some of the stranger occurrences like raining frogs or summer wildfires. I wouldn't blame anyone who just couldn't invest the time, and if you do put in the work to figure it out, you still have the procedural generation to deal with, which randomly decides where all of the biomes and resources are at the beginning of each run. But past the callous learning curve is a sense of satisfaction knowing that you had to scrape and claw for every bit of progress through this unforgiving world. There are a lot of tricks to the trade that seem to blow the game wide open when I first learned about them. For instance, you can befriend certain creatures with the right gifts, such as feeding these pigmen and then using them to do your dirty work. You can even craft and set spawn points for many of these creatures, letting you pit different mobs against each other while you scamper around and steal the item drops like the little opportunist you are. You can even discover
You can hire a workforce.
special shrines and build effigies that work as extra lives, providing a little bit of
Oh,
insurance.
that's good.
And thanks to Don't Starve Together, you can now play this game with up to 5 friends, making it easier to keep up with tasks. Just remember that this also means 5 more mouths to feed and 5 more psyches to keep calm. Over the years, they've added a dozen characters that can change up your run, and like with Gungeon, they all have useful strengths balanced by dramatic downsides. Wolfgang, for instance, gets obscenely strong when his belly is full, but gains more stress from his fear of the dark. And then there's Woody, a lumberjack with an unbreakable axe, but the forest itself sees him as an enemy and spawns murderous ents to oppose him. And then there's Wes, who... well, Wes kinda sucks. He's kind of the hard mode of this game. I haven't played this game with friends too much, but I always thought it would be fun to grab a squad that all knows what they're doing. There is a way to beat adventure mode and win the run, but this is a game where the fun is in seeing how long you can go without utter catastrophe.
Damn. Yeah, me and Katri, we tried to play Don't Starve Together at some point. I remember it being funny.
One of the stranger conundrums when deciding what to include on this list was the foggy gray area between roguelikes and visual novels of all things.
If he's going to talk about Valhalla, what this game is called, I have been hearing about this game, and I have been thinking about trying it out at some point.
Yeah, truly. With many dating sims offering up multiple routes to get your favorite waifu, husbando, or non-binary spouse, there is that sense of starting over from nothing. Some even include RNG like Monster Prom, which turns dating into a competitive stat-based board game.
Oh, I want to play Monster Prom at some point. I want to get some people together who are actually... Because no one I know is interested in playing Monster Prom, but I so want to play with people at some point.
But there is one example that I played that embraces the whims of chance while being unmistakably a visual novel. let's delve into the world of horror.
Right, yeah, World of Horror. That is technically a roguelike. I've been playing a little bit of it since I first tried to stream it, and like, it's weird. Of course it is, but like, it's weird to play.
Why, yes, you do recognize this from my top 15 horror games collab
Exactly.
with Chica. Good times.
Yeah.
World of Horror is a Polish-developed game that emulates the UI of a derelict Apple II, inspired by the art of the legendary mangaka Junji Ito, who, if you didn't know, is basically Japanese H.P. Lovecraft. In fact, in his youth, Ito...
Though much Japanese Lovecraft, much less problematic. Important part. Actually, it's so funny. One of the best memes I've ever seen is a comparison between Junji Ito and Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli. Because Hayao Miyazaki, it's like he creates these gorgeous, amazing stories. Like beautifully animated childhood stories, but it's actually apparently incredibly pessimistic in real life. While Junji Ito makes these nightmarish, Lovecraftian, horrible stories, but it's apparently a complete sweetheart in real life. Just the juxtaposition is so funny.
Hey, you know what this place looks like? Looks like Pumpkin Hill.
Apparently my face looks like Pumpkin Hill. Hello, Susie. We're watching top 10, top 15 roguelike video games by the Green Scorpion, and we about a third way through or something like that. We're talking about a bunch of roguelike video games. Right now, we're talking about one called World of Horror.
was reading the works of Lovecraft before they gained mainstream popularity in the US. In World of Horror, you live in a picturesque seaside town that's fallen under the influence of an elder god. Now it's up to you to investigate a series of disturbances and get to the bottom of things. This comes in the form of mysteries. Each run will randomly select 5 of these scenarios from a pool of 21, all of which have humorous alliterative names, like the perilous parable of the peculiar painting, or the rotten report of the rancid ramen. Seriously, sounds like something you'd read out of Goosebumps. You guys remember those? Truly a game after my own.
We didn't really have. Oh well, we did have Goosebumps here in Denmark. Just I didn't really read them a lot.
Own heart, and fitting for the source material too. A big part of Ito's horror comes from the fact that it's kinda goofy. A whole town obsessed with spiral patterns. It's a silly concept juxtaposed by uncanny nightmare visuals. And by God, World of Horror has plenty of that. But that's enough about how effective it is as a horror game. How is it as a roguelike? Well, anxiety is the first word that comes to mind, and in the best way possible. Sure, you'll get used to certain tracks once you've seen all the mysteries, that's true of any roguelike, but there's still plenty of random encounters and unexpected setbacks to keep you on your toes the whole time. And every decision comes with a cost, forcing you to balance your character's health and sanity with the doom meter of the entire town. Sometimes you'll have to risk your own stamina to stay ahead of the god's machinations. Sometimes you'll luck out and get a partner to assist you without spending too much time on it. And while some of these
Oh yeah, if you ever play this game, I know I've played a little of it, but if you have, oh wait, isn't that going to appear on my face now? Yeah, it is. I am now the shoutout. I am now the shoutout. But yeah, if you ever play this game, get like companions, get like people to go with you because they help a lot.
These RP moments feel like they have clear right choices. World of Horror kinda makes it fun to make the wrong ones. Sometimes doing something crazy can pay off in a big way. I appreciate the fact that minor injuries and scars on your character's face will stay there for the rest of the run.
Yeah.
And the mod support for this game is unreal. If you're worried only 21 mysteries is too repetitive, the community's got you covered with new mysteries, monsters, items, locales, and even different elder gods. The devs encourage this, letting you mix and match and randomize everything to be as chaotic as you want. True, you might get some unwinnable scenarios here and there, but hey, we don't play horror to win.
Well, I didn't know there was so much like in a mod scene for this game. That's pretty cool.
You might not know this about me, but when I'm not playing or talking about video games, I enjoy playing and talking about trading card games. Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, maybe a little Pokemon if I'm feeling nostalgic. There's something I love about collecting cards and working them into a battle-ready deck. Plenty of games
I bet he's gonna talk about Slay the Spire, another game that I've been wanting to play.
Seek to emulate that experience, and no, I'm not talking about Bellatro. That is a card game, but not a trading card game. I'm talking
it is
about
Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire, developed by American indie studio Megacrit. There's something great about turning TCGs into a roguelike. As much as I love that Rafik of the Many commander deck that I've labored at for years, starting each run of Slay the Spire with a small collection that grows with each victory takes
Wait, actually, now I'm actually curious. Now I'm actually
into
curious.
a roguelike. As much as I love that Rafik of the Many...
Wait, let me see here. Okay. Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, a creature gains +1/+1. Okay. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains the... Oh! Oh, I can see how that gets busted.
Commander deck that I've labored at for years, starting each run of Slay the Spire with a small collection that grows with each victory takes me back to a simpler time when I saved up money to slowly improve my disparate pile of unrelated cards. And I don't have to spend real money on booster packs, so that's a plus. Seriously, Stoneforge Mystic ain't cheap. Ranking in the middle of the list, Slay the Spire is a wonderful example of many great design philosophies for the genre. For example, cards are a lot simpler in this game than, say, the wall of text on some Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
God. As a Yu-Gi-Oh player, this hurts me on the inside. Oh god. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a fun game, but goddamn has it become so bloated nowadays. Like, I don't want to sound like one of those, oh, there's no Yu-Gi-Oh bad. Like, I don't want to be that guy, though I sound like that guy already. But I wish there existed a modern, I want to repeat that, I wish there existed a modern Yu-Gi-Oh game that only included cards from, like, the first 2 or 3 anime. Like, from Duel Monsters to GX or 5Ds. And I repeat again, modern game. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Okay, I'm done yelling at card-shaped clouds. Let's get back to it. And we are
I'm
the old
looking
fools,
at you,
Susie.
Super Doom King Purple Armageddon. This is what the Magic the Gathering devs call lenticular design, making easy to understand game mechanics that create depth from how the player combines them, rather than how the designer writes the cards. Cards use energy to play, you only get so much energy.
Yeah, because like Magic the Gathering is still going. They're still making several new like collections and stuff. Hell, I'm trying to collect for one of their newest sets called Bloomborough. And they had their descriptions and effects have not gone near as bloated as the text on Yu-Gi-Oh cards have. Sounds like a skill issue. Bitch! Shit.
Energy each turn, and your average attacks are in the single digits of damage, making it all the more exciting when you hit on the strategy and can achieve 20 damage or higher. And then there are the synergies, which is when 2 weapons, items, or cards work so well together and inform your choices in a given run. In Pepperhead's video, What Makes a Good Roguelike, which I suggest you watch, Pepperhead categorizes synergies into 3 types. You have minor synergies, where all the cards or relics are just good and work with everything, just maybe with some things better than others. Like, it's never bad to draw 2 cards, that's why Pot of Greed is banned. Then there are major synergies where certain keywords or strategies start to emerge, like say a field spell that buffs all water monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or a stadium card that boosts all your fighting types in Pokemon. And finally, there are scripted synergies, cards that gain utility from specific other cards, like Wing Karibo in Transcendent Wings, or Brock's Training boosting certain rock Pokemon. Scripted synergies can be fun, Enter the Gungeon makes them particularly exciting, and we all love a good boss monster like Withengar Unbound, but this can be the bane of a lot of card games. Nothing's worse than opening a booster pack and seeing Ojama Yellow, Elemental Hero Bubble Man, Jax Knight, Different Dimension, Xyz. Damn it, I don't run any of these decks.
Exactly.
But Slay the Spire hits...
Goddamn, I do not want any more Pendulum or like Cyverse, Link Summoning, or XYZ fucking things.
The sweet spot with major and minor synergies, so every card is good, maybe with some drawbacks, and the right combinations are great and plentiful. I once ran a game with... She's got these Shiv cards that cost 0 to play, but do 1 damage. That's great poke, but they also have exhaust, meaning that they don't get reshuffled back into the deck. But then I got this passive relic that increases the damage of low-level cards, and this other that lets me draw a new card whenever I exhaust one. Now we're talking. Then I beat a boss and got rewarded with Storm of Steel, which can replace every card in my hand with shivs. So now I'm flinging free-to-play knives like they're going out of style.
Damn.
And I don't feel like I was locked into this type of deck by RNG. It's something that I came up with myself through intuition and a little bit of luck. And finally, Slay the Spire is a great example of risk versus reward gameplay. Plenty of strategies in roguelikes involve delayed gratification, but in Slay the Spire, gambling with your life comes in many different scopes. Maybe you'll play a card that increases your energy so that you can hit harder next turn. Maybe your poison deck takes a few turns to set up so you can kill enemies faster in the long run. And maybe you'll save up your gold early in the run, take on those elite monsters for higher rewards, all in the hopes of buying a boss-busting card on the last leg of your journey. All of the trials and riddles of a fantasy adventure boiled down to the movements of little rectangles. I admittedly haven't played every rogue card like out there, but Slay the Spire definitely sets the standard for how to do it.
And I believe that there's an actual, like, board game version of Slay the Spire that's come out. I don't know when it came out, but it has come out, and must just show how good of a card game Slay the Spire is. Also, I do agree with you, Susie. Link summoning is not that bad. Link summoning, not that bad. I think I'm mostly just angry at Pendulum. I still don't understand it. I've been trying to research. I'm trying to learn about, like, read. They still confuse me.
We are the flame, burning brightly for all the world to see.
I know Darkest Dungeon and Hades will be on here. Hades may be at the top.
Oh, we are so back.
Oh, yeah.
I made it pretty clear by now that I really like Darkest Dungeon.
You made a whole countdown about it, dude. Yeah.
Grimdark dungeon crawler where everything goes wrong all at once. What's less clear, though, is the genre I'd fit this into. Missions take the form of smaller, procedurally generated excursions, and permadeath is a central mechanic that drives attention. The term roguelite crossed my mind more than once while playing it, but were I to include it, this would be by far the lightest rogue here. The emphasis on the hamlet and the meta progression has me conflicted.
Yeah, I can see why.
But fortunately, Red Hook Studios came back with a sequel that left early access over a year ago, and it's more true to the roguelike experience. Darkest Dungeon 2 has many of the qualities I loved about the first game. The art is grotesquely gorgeous, with smooth 3D models filtered with the now iconic thick outlines. The monsters strike fear into the imagination, and the battles remain one of my favorite examples of modern turn-based combat.
I remember, like, seeing things of Darkest Dungeon 2 and got... Like, of course it looks amazing, and I love Darkest Dungeon, but I think why I wasn't interested in it at first was exactly because that in the first game you had your home base. You gathered resources from the dungeon runs to then hopefully upgrade the buildings. In Darkest Dungeon 2, there's no home base. It's basically you going on the most horrifying road trip of your life. And you're like staying at inns and stuff, but there's no, as far as I know at least, maybe he's going to talk about it, but as far as I know, there's no like upgrade system like that. So I think because I was so used to how it was in the first game, I was like not really interested in the second game, because to me it didn't have that same sort of like storytelling aspect. It's like, oh, we're trying to build ourselves up against the forces of darkness and stuff like that. But again, maybe it's just because I haven't played this game yet, so I don't understand it as well, but then...
That wonderfully horrible stress meter is back, with characters acting erratically when they become too stressed out, and, occasionally, surprise you with a valorous second wind. Positioning remains a major factor, as well as Death's Door, where characters don't die outright at 0 health, but instead start making fatality rolls while you scramble to heal them. The class-based character system also returns. We have some newcomers like the Runaway, a frontline fighter who can set enemy spaces on fire for damage over time, and the Duelist.
Okay, I know who I'm gonna pick now.
Who switches between 2 different battle stances, sort of a streamlined version of the Abomination. And speaking of, they recently brought my boy back as well, so I have even more incentive to get back into this game. Most of the other old classes have returned as well, and all of them have been balanced and given new abilities. Even the Leper, my least favorite class from the first game, became extremely fun to use. However, rather than having the heroes of all these classes show up randomly at your doorstep each week, they were treated as unlockable characters that you can buy between runs, with new skills also tied to meta progression. So instead of upgrading individual jesters and highwaymen and hoping that they don't die and waste your investment, you're permanently buffing each class in their entirety. Now, this may sound more meta progressive than the original, until you see the actual runs, which are now a straight shot to the mountain, classic roguelike. I suppose in the original you do burn a lot of time grinding safe missions to rebuild your army, Darkest Dungeon 2 wastes your time less, but also doesn't hold back with its encounters.
Yeah,
These monsters are bastards, and that's just the way I like them. It's everything I loved about the first game, refined.
Look at that guy! It's like the White Horseman of the Apocalypse, like all fungal and stuff. If I remember correctly, the White Horseman... The White Horseman was Death. Either Death or Pestilence. I don't remember which one. I've heard the game is tougher. That makes sense. But the way he explains it now, I may want to try it again. Because it does have my girl Plague Doctor. And I love her and her poison bombs. Pale Horse of Death. That's right. Yes, yes. But that's the badass design. Darkest Dungeon is always amazing designs. It's so good.
And refocused into a single mission structure that you can fail and fail and fail at again and again. Now, truth be told, I still like the original better, in part because it had more time to be updated. I'm missing certain features from the sequel still, but there's plenty of time for Red Hook to spoil us with new horror. And for a list about roguelikes, Darkest Dungeon 2 does that part of its game better. Video game masochists rejoice because the indie god of agony has returned.
There remains a foothold out of this mire. Now climb.
I've mentioned before how roguelike elements can be laid over just about any genre. For example, Into the Breach is a roguelike tactics game, and Peglin is a roguelike pachinko game.
What?
The possibilities are endless. So why do the previous 3 entries essentially boil down to turn-based combat? Screw that! Get me a roguelike first-person shooter!
What? Oh wait, I think I know this
now
one.
This is a real man's game, full of guns and cute cartoon animals.
Oh wait, Gunfire Reborn.
So essentially,
I think I've seen Neville play this. I think Neville has been playing this.
To the Gungeon for furries, Gunfire Reborn is a Hong Kong-developed shooter inspired by Borderlands and Gungeon with semi-random level design. I say semi-random because procedural generation is a lot tougher in 3D. No matter how much Bethesda and Hello Games says otherwise. Gunfire Reborn has a sense to make sure that the maps are actually fun to play in no matter how the dice roll. There's plenty of cover and vantage points for all styles of play, whether you're a...
Aether, first off, hello Aether. Second, were you trying to do an emote? Peep.
Sniper or a mid-range spray and prayer. Even before getting into this game's colorful characters, of which there are many, Gunfire does a really good job of giving a sense of personality to these ranged weapons that could have easily just been generic SMGs and shotguns. Right off the bat, there's a revolver with 9 chambers in it instead of 6. Not sure why, but that really stuck out to me. As you progress, guns have secondary modes of fire that can make them more complex, and come in 3 distinct damage types that correspond to different colors of enemy health bars. Fire-type bullets are best for finishing off standard health bars, but some enemies have shields, of which are best handled with shock-type weapons. And if they have armor, a corrosive gun will take care of that right quick. This can be a little tough to contend with since the game follows Halo rules of only letting you carry 2 guns at a time, you know, besides the reliable foundry, but you can circumvent this with co-op, letting up to 3 friends join you to build a well-rounded Swiss army. Boss health does scale off the number of players though, and if an ally dies before you can patch them up, they'll remain dead until you find a merchant that can revive them. There is a bit of risk-reward in choosing the size of your squad. As for the members of that squad, they're a colorful bunch that add variety to your repeated playthroughs.
You are a colorful bunch.
Take for instance Ao Bai, a mountainous mastiff with the ability to dual-wield weapons for a limited time, which you can extend with certain upgrades. This guy absolutely decimates mid-game bosses if you have a good build, and he's actually my least favorite in the game. It's all uphill from there. The cel-shaded graphics also go a long way towards characterizing these eclectic critters. It actually kind of takes me back to my Overwatch days. Hey Blizzard, remember how you said Overwatch 2 would have PvE? I haven't forgotten about that, or the controversy that announcement was supposed to distract us from. Anyway.
Oh god, Overwatch 2. They closed down Overwatch 1 to release Overwatch 2. But it ended up just being a worse Overwatch 1. It's just... How do you do that? How do you do that? It's fucking insane.
This is what I think that PvE would have looked like, and the E's in question are pretty varied. Yeah, enemy variety isn't always what I think about in arcade shooters, but each zone in this game has unique opponents themed to the environment, like the desert having bandits and the mountainous region having... UFOs? Huh, neat. Also gotta give a...
Emerald, all the power to you. I play Marvel Rivals now. I've moved away from Overwatch. I just play the Marvels. I just played the Marvel, baby.
Nod to the vaults, hidden areas in each level that teleport you to a special challenge to win an occult scroll, which are the game's passive buff items. The vaults are from a list of pre-made levels, making them the least random part of this game's design, but the fact that you're getting a random vault out of the deck each time gives it a nice balance. Gives me that feeling of, oh hey, it's this room again, let's go! With satisfying progression in and between the runs, Gunfire Reborn is chaotic, charming, and rewarding. And you can actually unlock everything just by playing the game. Seriously, doesn't this look like the kind of game that would bleed you dry with premium currency?
Yeah.
Nope, nothing but completely transparent pricing here.
It does, like, graphically and everything, it does give a little bit of vibes of like a mobile game that's like, oh, you want to, oh no, you've played too much with this gun, now it's in cooldown for this amount of time until you pay the money for it. It's like, it does kind of give off that vibe just by looking at it, but it's good to know that it's not that.
God, I love indie devs.
Indie games are awesome.
Pretty sure you expected this one. After my top 10 about the various playable skulls and Skull the Hero Slayer.
I kind of forgot about Skull as well. My brain is a sponge.
It would be pretty embarrassing if it didn't make my list.
No. My brain is a sponge with holes, because everything keeps leaking the hell out.
So, skeletons are pretty cool, right? Scary in concept, often hilarious in execution, just fun to watch scuttle around. Well, in the land of Carleon, the forces of evil have been nearly eradicated by the heroes, upsetting the delicate balance of light and dark. So now it's up to a lowly skeletal minion to rescue demon kind. I mean, demons have rights too, you know. Cute concept aside, Skull takes the roguelike gameplay to a side-scrolling action game, which I'll admit is a personal comfort zone for me. Not that this game is easy, this might actually be one of the hardest games on the list for how you're zoomed into the action, surrounded by enemies both powerful and numerous.
God, this game is
now
tough.
that we're in the top half of the
I have not beaten the last boss yet. This game is tough.
list, I do feel the need to be a bit more critical. If I had one complaint, the first few areas can be a little repetitive for how often you'll be replaying them. Rooms are semi-random, but it didn't take long to see repeats. If nothing else, I would have liked to see a bit more varied level design, maybe a few more music tracks for the early zones. But Skull definitely puts its budget into its winning feature. The equipable skulls.
Yes.
Our protagonist can swap his head out for the heads of fallen heroes, that's one way to get your head in the game. And these skulls function as new skill sets that drastically alter the gameplay. There are a ton of them, many with multiple upgrade levels, and you can keep 2 of them at a time with you to switch between. And one of my favorite things in a roguelike is when you can get that snowball build going.
Yes.
Where you get just the right combinations of passives and actives to become an unstoppable killing machine. Skull the Hero Slayer.
My biggest problem with playing Skull is that I get too, used to only play, because you have 2 skulls that you can, switch between, but I get too used to only play one of them. I still am not good at the whole, switching between them. That's, my biggest struggle with the game right now, balancing going between the 2 skulls, especially when I've only focused on upgrading one of them, but not the others. That is my biggest issue with playing the game. Otherwise, it's really good.
Slayer is perhaps the best game on this list for showing that visually. Look at this. What is even happening here? And there is so much flavor to every skull, from the you're already dead samurai to the multiplying monkey king, the killer vacuum ghoul, Davy Jones with his giant cannon.
I heard the music. Also, Oscar, I believe you mean the ghoul. No, seriously, for those of you who do not know, the fully upgraded ghoul skull, its name is just ghoul, just oh. It's amazing.
And bomb, which is literally just you exploding over and over again. And I'm sure this is a nightmare for the devs to balance, and to a degree, they don't. If the game doesn't deem to give you a legendary skull before the second boss, it can feel impossible to really clear the run. So it's easy to feel like you're just not allowed to win yet. But with the meta collection of purple crystals and such to improve your character permanently, you're always inching closer to that run that's gonna give you a win.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to embrace failure because you're gonna get them eventually. It's a lot more fun than it is fair, and the losses are so spectacular that I stopped counting them ages ago.
That third fight with the Adventurers are tough.
Almost as a counterpoint to Skull's chaos, we have the deeply strategic one-step...
This is one of the few ones in this list I know nothing about. What is this?
From Eden. Plenty of indie games have stepped in over the years to make spiritual successors to games that we don't get anymore. So what game does Eden seek to emulate?
Looks like
Mega Man Battle Network.
I was about to say Mega Man Battle Network.
Yeah! That's right, gridlock real-time movement, a shuffling deck of battle chips, called spells in this case, and a cast-
Susie, why does this Silk Mega Man sound? Yeah, you were right. We were both right.
Of rival bosses to face, all whom you can unlock as playable characters for future runs. Our main character, Saffron, is a well-rounded mage with a Guardian Angel retry when you die. Great for keeping in there when you're still getting used to things. Once you're comfortable, you can try out this killer violinist, this stalwart shield maiden, even the shopkeeper if you can beat her in battle. The problem is that it might be a while before you feel secure enough with the game's mechanics to experiment with other characters, because this game really doesn't explain anything to you. For example, the first time I beat a boss, I noticed that they fall prone to 1 HP, and then I realized that you could either execute them or spare them. What are the advantages of letting them go free? What are the disadvantages? Hell if I knew the first time I had to make that decision. I even tried to look for lore that might contextualize things, but besides the vague goal of going to Eden, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Turns out there's a sort of Undertale pathing going on for the end of the game, based on whether you've spared everyone, killed everyone, or somewhere in between. All with different final bosses. Okay, fair enough, but what about some of these different kinds of spells? Some spells are intuitive, especially if you've played Battle Network, breaking tiles, spawning turrets, burn, freeze, poison, shield, etc. Okay, I got that, but what the hell is flow? What is Trinity casting? And what about this rabbit I found at the campsite? Should I kill it? Will that affect my ending? As vexing as all this is, though, in my opinion, this is a feature and not an oversight. One Step from Eden wants you—
I just want to say my natural instinct is don't kill the rabbit. It's just there, being fluffy.
You to look online for tips. Like with the Binding of Isaac, a strong community formed around this game, albeit much smaller, and these players will teach you the best strategies faster than any in-game tutorial ever.
Nascat, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Screw the rules, I have money. God damn, dude, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Hey. No. Guys. No.
Choo-choo?
No, do not choo-choo. Now's not the time for— Thank you so much for the 100 bits, Venomate, but please keep it calm. Keep it calm now. But it is funny because watching like usually as it is with my brain, watching all of these games and hearing him talking about it just makes me want to like make my own roguelike, even though I have no video game production experience.
Hey, you know what this place looks like? Looks like Pumpkin Hill.
Hey. But yeah, I will if I ever.
Chew, heckin', chew mother hecker.
Ryder, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Thank you. Let's go back to the video now. Thank you.
Or could. You really just need to dig in yourself and proactively learn the game. It took me a while to discover, but you can actually set affinities for certain spells mid-run, which will increase the odds of those spells showing up in shops and treasure chests.
Oh, we spoke. Zeus, you spoke about how this game like looked like Mega Man Zero vibes. Isn't that just Iris? Isn't that chick looking a lot like Iris? Like the.
I'm a distraction.
Yes, you are, Nascat. Thank you so much for the 100 bits. Ah, thank you. Alright, so from 6 series, from X series. Yeah, right. Apologies. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, letting you lean into certain strategies when you notice that you have some synergies going. You'll need every advantage you can get because this game is ruthless. There's no roguelike about it. None of the characters are inherently better than the other, and the only other meta progression are new passives and spells getting added to the rotation, which, sure, grow in usefulness, but also rarity. When you beat a run in this game, you know it's because you earned it. You didn't just wait for the game to get easier. You learned the boss patterns and strategically built your deck of magic around a winning game.
Okay, I think I already do have kind of a concept for a roguelike. Susie, I believe I have told you about this, like the robot game I told you about, the junk robot. I think I have talked about that concept before. I guess I can make like the story like the main gameplay. No, I'm not for this stream. That kind of talk is not for this stream. Sorry, I was about to yap. I stopped myself from yapping.
Gambit. Maybe you lucked out with a rare drop that completed your arsenal, but luck means nothing without the skill to capitalize on those advantages. Despite it not being turn-based, One Step from Eden is one of the most cerebral roguelikes I've ever played, asking you to master this magic into a science. Eden may seem so far away, but it's always so maddeningly close.
As if you're one step from it.
When you're having a good run...
Game development stream with Johnny Wen. The closest thing you will have to a game development stream from me is basically like a game development concept game where I talk about my ideas and stuff. That's the closest you're gonna get. Not even an art stream. And I tried to do the art stream, but it felt so uncomfortable. Totally honest, it felt so uncomfortable. I'm not going to do another art stream until 1, I get better equipment, and 2, I feel more comfortable in drawing with others. But yeah. Johnny's Inferno coming from Johnny's Inferno. So, my own version of hell?
In a roguelike, wiping small enemies off the map almost automatically, it can be easy to lose track of the little things, and all of a sudden you find yourself barreling through the last few areas. It's a lot like this video, actually. I got into a groove, and now I'm at number 4, and I have no idea how vampires—
How did I forget about Vampire Survivors? I got addicted to this game too for a while. Hell, I'm playing both Bellatro and Vampire Survivors on my Switch.
Survivors got this high. It's a simple-looking mob killer game where the attacks go off automatically, and all you have to do is walk around the enemies.
Also, basically, like, I believe this game spawned its own, like, mini-genre. Its own mini-genre of, like, walking around, like, auto-shooting at people and then collecting currency to upgrade upgrades and weapons and stuff. I believe this started that mini-genre. It spawned one with VTubers, specifically from the VTuber agency Hololive, which is apparently really good.
What's going on here? Well, I racked up hundreds of hours playing it. Also, I must really like fun. It. And while it looks like a mindless browser game at times, there's a lot of smart design choices under the hood.
And this is another one of those games where, like, if you have the right weapons, you will not be able to see what's going on because of all of the graphics.
Set in Italy, Vampire Survivor centers around the Bel Peas family of monster hunters. Players choose one of the Bel Peas or their heroic volunteer allies to stand against the dark forces of Visconte Draculo.
Look at this!
So it's Castlevania but Italian. Sure, I can follow this. But Castlevania never looked like this. The field of battle is absolutely crawling with pixelated pests. Simon Belmont could never deal with this. But while it may seem intimidating, your attacks launch at regular intervals, and there's no real difference between different enemies besides their HP and movement patterns.
Yeah.
All you have to do is worry about spacing while you collect those sweet experience orbs.
Hell yeah. Some of the enemies, like, they leave bombs behind when they die, and the worst of them, like, respawn or create clones. Ugh.
Survive the round, and you can spend that experience on new abilities and equipment to increase your damage output, to the point where you're a walking tower defense game. It's an addictive cycle that plays on your base instinct of numbers go up and enemy quantity go down. Adding more
number go up, brain go spur. Brain likey, the big number, big number go higher, number go higher, bigger burr.
Flashy effects around you and drawing in more experience orbs to grow stronger and do it all again. And interestingly, the timer counts up, not down, with the enemy hordes getting tougher each round. You're in a constant arms race with the game trying to keep them out of your personal space.
Computer go smoke, yes.
So while the mechanics are simple doesn't mean easy. And while your screensaver attacks are great to watch, you'll be making strategic decisions in your build to stay ahead. This is where the genius of the game comes in. Sure, you can be a caveman and just pick the biggest damage numbers or largest sweeping attacks to buy, but sometimes it's better to delay your gratification. Make the next level a little bit harder so you can potentially get way stronger down the line. For example, there's an item called the Pentagram which, while powerful, can destroy experience orbs before you collect them.
You have to upgrade that bitch before it becomes incredibly useful. Like, it's powerful, but a hindrance in the beginning. Upgrade that thing. My god.
It slows down your growth, so it's quite the gamble. But it might pay off if the crown shows up in a later shot, fusing into an incredible combo weapon that can
It's actually really... Okay, I'm sorry I keep interrupting you, Oscar. But I want to pause to talk because not enough reactors do that. Anyway, the funny thing is, the Pentagram, like early on, it destroys the experience points, right? The experience orbs. The crown, the passive item it pairs with, is as a passive item that increases the amount of experience you gain from those orbs. I just kind of like that. It's a little like an ironic pairing. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Quickly make up for the experience loss. Gamble is the perfect word, actually,
yes, I do,
as these shops employ a lot of casino game design to keep you coming back for more. But, like, in a good way. A lot of the time, the math and probability are skewed in your favor. See, we as humans are pretty bad at rationalizing probability.
Man.
We see a 1 in 3 chance and expect to always get the best result on every third attempt. That's not how probability actually works. It's a 1 in 3 chance every time. But
Yeah.
that is how it actually works in Vampire Survivor. Utilizing pity values and secret modifiers, Vampire Survivor will reward you more often than it advertises to make the game feel fair, not
Say that to my Switch. It punished me so much. It does give me the damn upgrades that I need. Stupid ass bitch.
just be fair. Like, did you know that the first 6 chests you open on a new save file always have the same 6 values, giving you the best possible chance on the 6th? Yeah, it's all to hook in new players with an early sense of momentum and start the addiction. It's not the game that's stupid, it's me. The game is playing the player. Now, that might be rather unethical if this were a gacha game that charged real money for extra pulls, but this is a full game that you supposedly buy once and then you own it. It doesn't need to hook you, the devs already have your money. But they want you to have a good time. The Steam store page refers to this as a casual roguelite, one approachable to any player, and it's certainly that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't come at the expense of thoughtful game design. It's the perfect mix of strategy and zen. And god damn it, I can't stop playing it. So what are you waiting for? This game is $5. Go play it already.
It's cheap as dirt, but it's so fun. And yes, this is another game that could have been so easily monetized to hell and back. But again, the developer did not do that. There was no need to.
Vampire Survivor is a game that I can easily pick up any time without turning my brain on.
But
Perhaps it's better that I don't. So to beat that, my top 3 games are the highest echelon of roguelikes.
oh, what? Wait. I forgot one that he's probably also going to mention. Risk of Rain 2.
Games that aren't only great for their genre, but rise above it to become some of my favorite games in recent memory. So let's talk about Risk of Rain 2.
I actually have to thank one of his, Wambu for introducing me to this game and to getting me into buying it and then playing it, because it is it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I want to play with more people. It's fun.
I was always fascinated with the idea of uncharted planets in games like Metroid. The original Risk of Rain was all about that feeling of unease, quickly taking in your surroundings and becoming familiar with the hostile alien life before it can become overly familiar with you. The game's sequel, fully realized in 2020, not only improves on that concept, but brings it seamlessly into 3D, tasking you as one of the unique classes of survivor to chart your course and keep up with the planet's ecosystem.
I just want to say this. Some of these bosses are straight up bullshit. The fucking flying jellyfish? Bullshit.
Which seems almost maliciously dedicated to killing you. As you mow through enemies, you'll collect experience and currency, the former of which lets you level up your max health and damage output, the latter being spent to open chests and get new equipment. Naturally, you'll want to get as much as you can gather, but like with Vampire Survivors, Risk of Rain 2 is tracking your time, and aliens will become steadily stronger as you play the game. This means it's a constant priority to grow your character, knowing every second you aren't pursuing your main objective will be held against you in the form of giant carnivorous.
Oh. I know it wasn't coming. My face is gonna go missing. Ah, there we go. But also, yeah, the thing that the Scorpion here is talking about, like, the more time goes, the stronger the bosses become. It's bad for me, because I'm that type of player who's just looks through every, like, corner, every part of the map to look for, like, upgrades or new items and stuff. I want to search the entire thing, because what if I find more drones? What if I find more robots? What if I find new equipment? What if I find some good chest? But then it punishes me for taking so long with looking around, letting the bosses become strong, and I'm like, but I just want to look around!
Bugs while the game literally laughs at you. Of course, you could just sprint to the end of each level, reaching a teleporter without really upgrading your character, but those teleporters take a few minutes to warm up, and as soon as you activate them, every enemy in a 10-mile radius will be coming to investigate. All the things I've complimented about the previous games, enemy in a 10-mile radius will be coming to investigate.
I love that meme so goddamn much. The bug night down over there. I goddamn love that meme so goddamn much.
All the things I've complimented about the previous games on this list are here. The difficulty keeps me on my toes, the gameplay loop is addicting, and while there is a slight meta element allowing you to unlock new characters and items for the rotation, the game never loses its bite. The biggest advantage that carries between runs might be—
Susie, I'm not surprised you don't know the meme. I'm not surprised.
The lunar coins, which stay in your possession until spent. And if you don't feel like spending them on the lunar items, which are a seriously mixed bag anyway, you can spend them to select the next biome you visit rather than it being random. That's a neat way to do that. Rather than making you permanently stronger, you can save your coins to tailor one run to the kind of experience that you want. And best of all, the multiplayer.
The goddamn wandering vagrants. Stupid!
Risk of Rain 2 isn't the only game I played on this list with friends. Enter the Gungeon and Gunfire Reborn also have satisfying co-op. I guess shooters just lend themselves to squad gameplay. But this is easily the most fun I've had, taking a team through the risks and rewards of a roguelike. The amount of coordination and prep—
I've seen him play with Wombu and I believe their friend named North, I believe.
Required for this one perfect shot is like the party hunts in Monster Hunter actually. With so many variables, inevitably the plan goes wrong and we have to alter our trajectory to compensate. When we all survive a run, it's exhilarating. And when someone gets—
what number was Gunfire? I believe number 7. He placed it at number 7 on the list.
Run, it's exhilarating. And when someone gets left behind just because they keep getting screwed by enemy spawns, well, it sucks, but it's also kind of hilarious. About as hilarious as some of the shenanigans you'll run into with this game, too.
My concussive binds are not good for that kind of thing.
Yes, they are, actually.
What? Yes, they are. What?
No, I mean, I haven't had the luck to do that.
It's not a luck thing. Just stand on your mind, you ding dong.
Yeah, and every time oh.
If you can find a group of friends to show you the ropes, I highly recommend—
When that one friend misunderstands a game mechanic, and you try to explain it to them, but they believe so much they know how it works that when it finally clicks, it's hilarious.
Recommend it. Misery loves
I've
company,
done that.
and I love this miserable planet. I hope it never stops raining.
And I still don't fully know the— Oh, thank you for redeeming the sip. I still don't fully understand the lore behind the game. I really should look into that. Thank you for the stretch as well. Strimch. Me with magic Damon. Damon. So Susie, what have you learned? Me, nothing.
So, Oscar, did you play Dead Cells yet, you schmuck?
Yes, I did finally play
Dead Cells. I forgot that's also the third roguelike I have on my Switch. I've got nowhere with it because it's hard. It's a hard game.
Dead Cells, and yes, it's freaking incredible. Leave me alone, North. Skull the Hero Slayer gave us side-scrolling, but Dead Cells gives me one of my favorite combo genres I've ever experienced. A roguelike Metroid.
Wait, Neville, what do you mean you beat it on your first try? Oh, you failed every other try. Well played, well played.
Vania. You play as the prisoner, and it's your job to navigate a series of worlds with maybe the third biggest repertoire of weapons on this list. The amount of content in this game is huge, and that's partly because of the metric ton of DLC available for this game. Kinda daunting when you have to buy more stuff for the full package, so
yes, and our challenger, he already did talk about Skull. We are at number 2.
I wouldn't blame you if you noped out of the whole endeavor. However, the DLC packs are pretty cheap, and they go on sale very often, as does the base game. Considering the number of hours I poured into this game, it's still got one of the better time-to-money ratios of anything I've played in recent years. The minute-to-minute gameplay is incredibly tight. Bosses get really hard later on, but there's room to learn their patterns and strive for perfect runs.
Yeah.
Sure, you're getting steadily more powerful with each run, collecting items that are helpfully color-coded for different build strategies, as helpful as color coding can be for someone like me. But
oh yeah, he has a form of color blindness, yeah. For real though, my drops were perfect and made me an immortal tank. However, every other try and suck and fail. That's just roguelikes in a nutshell, my man. You have that one good run and you tried to catch that high again ever since.
Rarely will you snowball so hard that you can just turn your brain off. You'll need to keep in step with these bosses to save your precious.
Yeah, this is not a game where you can turn your brain off. You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention.
Health. And that's actually one of the main forms of meta progression in this game. The cell system is an incredibly satisfying way to permanently unlock things, the most useful being the backpack for inventory management and allowing you to carry more flasks.
Yeah.
And if you're ever in a pinch, you might be able to heal yourself with some classic wall chicken. Keeping the Castlevania tradition alive, I see, even before that huge crossover content pack. Once again, another game gives more love to Castlevania than Konami does. But it's not even just Castlevania. Motion Twin's done partnerships with a whole bunch of indie games to put special weapons in the dungeons. References to Katana Zero, Hotline Miami, Shovel Knight. This is a real champion of indie games. Enter the Gungeon loves its references too, cataloging all the items you
I think I know what number 1 is. I hope I know what number 1 is.
Seen in the Ammonomicon, but in Dead Cells you can see every item hanging from the ceiling at the start of each run, giving you an idea of how much you played and how much there's still left to discover. Now that's really cool. And there's always more to discover in this game. I'm still working on it. My only problem with the game is that it locks the true ending maybe a bit too deep in the post-game.
Really?
Granted, this is a roguelike. Of course you want to do more after your first successful run. That's why most of these have difficulty mods that you can play after your first win. Dead Cells uses its cells.
Oh no, we've already gone through Bellatro. That was number 14.
System with boss cells that put crazy restrictions on the player. It's just maybe a bit too brutal. Extra damage, less healing. You're pretty much asking me to be perfect Cell here. And yes, I fully acknowledge I'm complaining about the true ending being a bit too difficult to achieve. Makes me sound like a bit of a noob, but seriously, you try it. Just because it's a roguelite doesn't mean it's actually lighter than any roguelike.
Neville, have you reached the true ending of the game yet? Have you done that?
This is feeling pretty heavy. But, you know, I love the struggle. Says a lot about the game when I want the true ending enough to put up with all this BS. So while I fear that this will embolden my friend for recommending the game to me in the first place, Dead Cells clearly deserves every bit of praise it gets.
It is a fun game. I just need to learn to deal with it. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, I thought you just meant like you got to the last boss and stuff. But okay. I hope number 1 is Hades. I hope number 1 is Hades, please.
Few tales
there
are told
we go.
Of Hades,
Let's
whose
go.
very name inspires fear and penitence, reminding us of the inevitable fate which we all share. I, however, mean to tell you such a tale. Listen carefully.
Are you even surprised? Was there ever any doubt? Did you think for a moment that Hades wouldn't be
Never doubt you. Never doubted you.
Well, maybe, only because Hades 2 is getting so much attention right now. In fact, it's the reason I took a break from the true ending of Dead Cells. But Hades 2 is still in early access, so while we still have the chance, let's take this moment to acknowledge why the first Hades is a God-blessed masterpiece.
There we go.
Supergiant Games. It's been so great to watch you grow from an unassuming indie dev to a dream team that can seemingly do no wrong.
Holy
From Bastion to Transistor to Pyre. In retrospect, each project seems like a stepping stone that would eventually lead to Hades. Already you had a dedication to killer music and on-point voice performances, excellent isometric action, and a fine eye for detail. Like its predecessors, Hades not only has decade-tempered mechanics, but a diegetic reasoning for those mechanics that fits into the world for a ludonarrative synergy other games can only dream of. Using the
way that they like, okay, he's gonna talk about it, but I just want to say, because I want to know about this game, because I really like this game, but the way that they weaved just the mechanics of like, you know, in the roguelike that you die and then respawn at the end, the way they weaved that into the story, like, made it make sense with the story, because usually you don't question that in roguelikes. You die and you wake up back like at square one. You don't question it. It's just how the game runs. They actually made it make sense in this story. They actually like weaved it into the storytelling. It's so good.
mythology of ancient Greece and its unspoken exposition, we play as Zagreus, son of the titular god of the dead who has decided that he's sick of living under his father's chthonic thumb. You take one of the 6 infernal weapons and make your way up the levels of hell, through ghoulish graveyards and lava lagoons, until inevitably you die. Fortunately, dying just means that you go back to the bottom level of the underworld. It's not permanent, but it does mean that you have to drag your burning hot feet past Hades' desk, where he'll condescend to you that escape is impossible, and it's not even worth it for him to try to stop you. Well, we'll see about that, Dad. I'm gonna go live with Mom, and she'll let me play Xbox whenever I want. Like with most roguelikes, the game has 2 modes you'll switch between, the runs and the downtime in between. And those runs are great. You get the boons from the gods of Olympus, who love the idea of Hades' kid coming to hang out with Uncle Zeus, fight awesome monsters like the Hydra and the Minotaur, have chance encounters with friendly NPCs who will help you on your way, and die again because it's you versus everyone who's ever died. What did you expect? If it was just based on this gameplay, this would already be a contender. Each of the weapons has an amazing feel to them, from the noob-friendly Stygian sword to the Jarvan the Fourth spear to the ancient Greek machine gun. And it's fun to
Ancient Greece, the weapons from the armies, from the armories of Hades. One of them is a bolt action gun. Huh?
to focus a build towards boons from certain gods, each of which has a unique flavor to their abilities, like Dionysus' poison stacks to Athena's deflection barriers.
I don't need to say anything, just... Dad.
And sometimes you get a choice between 2 gods, and whichever one you don't pick will get pissed off and try to kill you for a bit, which is pretty funny actually. Really captures how petty these gods would have been in those old stories. But Hades does more than any other roguelike I've played at that second phase of the game. The place you run back to between runs. The House of Hades has its own slew of characters who may or may be around on any given day. And talking to them enough over time furthers different stories with each of them. There's so much freaking dialogue in this game. Literally more writing than the Iliad or the Odyssey combined. I don't think I've ever seen a repeat line on one save file. And
I have played this game enough that I have begun to see repeat voice lines now, but that's after I have played I don't know how much of this game. Like, I've been trying to 100% this game. That's how much I love it. But that does mean that I have begun to meet repeated dialogue, but that's I've also just gone down into this rabbit hole of a well.
All of it is voiced.
Sometimes, boyo, you make me feel alive again, you know that? Being honest.
How far am I at? I mean, in 100%ing it? I still haven't gotten all the pillars yet, for instance. I haven't fully maxed out the weapons yet. I'm still getting there. I believe I have fully upgraded all of, like, the charms. But not the weapons, and I've still not gotten to the pillars yet. The goddamn Infernal contract, like basically the hard modes, it's surprisingly hard.
Honest with you here, I'm grateful, really. If not for you, my friend, I'd have no one to viciously attack with no fear of reprisal whatsoever.
This is also where you can spend some of the many meta currencies you collect through your runs. Shadows can be put in the mirror to permanently upgrade Zagreus. Borderline essential for beating the game. You can pay contractors and crystals to decorate the house, and by collecting nectar and ambrosia, you can give gifts to NPCs, both at home and in the actual runs, allowing you to collect and level up different trinkets that each give a unique passive ability. There's even a few dating quests in this game. You can date Megara and Thanatos at the same time. But there will never be enough ambrosia to quench this game's thirst. Everyone is fucking gorgeous.
When he drops the F-bomb, you know it's good. Also, yeah, I think this is the first game I've ever seen where, like, with dating options, where polyamory is an option. I don't think I've seen that in other, like, dating, mechanical date games before.
That combination of addicting gameplay, gripping story, and a palpable sense of progress.
Oh no, Challenger, the reason I said that is because the Green Scorpion normally doesn't swear a lot. He's begun to swear more nowadays, but he doesn't drop it, like, very often. So when he does, it's really to emphasize something.
That makes this game so unbelievably great. You'll eventually hit a cap with how much you can upgrade Zagreus, so it's not like you can power level your way through the game. But by that point, you'll have learned what to look out for to improve your game. Even what build strategies you like to watch for. And when you finally clash with the titular Hades...
Athena is maybe my favorite god to make a build around. It takes a lot, but when that crit hits, and you can make that crit happen a lot... Oh, big number. Go Burr. Very much Burr.
himself and make your way to the surface, the game gets better. Like, yeah, all these games have reasons to keep playing past the first run, but it usually feels like the story is over and you're just going back for fun. Maybe with a new character or for higher difficulties. But at this point in Hades, there's still more story to tell. In fact, it's built into the story.
Yes!
In a quite emotionally engaging way, I might add.
Yeah.
And that's when you unlock the heat system, and in my opinion, it's the best difficulty modding system of any roguelike.
So, like, there's also, like, an achievement for getting... there's an achievement for doing a run, for, like, doing runs with all of these things. Like, not turned on at the same time, but just, like, complete a run with all of these. Not at the same time, but just, you know what I mean. That was maybe the hardest one achievement for me to get so far, because some of these are brutal. And I tried to do some of them at the same time. Just made it worse.
Now you can try your luck against higher quantities of enemies, higher health bars, environmental hazards, and the coolest one, new versions of each boss.
Yeah.
Extreme Measures
That's the
Hades
best one.
goes hard.
That's the best one.
But there is one more reason why Hades is number one. Something that other roguelikes don't really touch on. And that's the theme. The story of a roguelike actually being canonically, narratively, a roguelike. I think it could be best described by Sisyphus, a character who is actually in this game. He's the guy who spends every day pushing a boulder up a hill only to have it roll back down. To quote Albert Camus, one must imagine Sisyphus happy, and indeed he is, because even though he may never get the boulder to the top, he enjoys the act of pushing the boulder itself. Just like for us, we may defeat the Necrodancer, we may slay the Spire, we may survive the vampire, escape the planet, surpass Hades even on maximum heat. But the point isn't to achieve the final victory. It's to perfect the craft and enjoy the game, master the mechanics, and truly know the digital world that we're spending time in.
Yes.
Cutting down Theseus feels great, but so does reuniting...
Cutting down Theseus feels amazing every single time. That douche deserves it.
Orpheus and Eurydice, or helping Dusa gain her confidence. Ironically, the closer you get to escaping the underworld, the nicer a place it becomes just from the effort that you put in. Zagreus never really had to leave. Things just had to change, including Zagreus himself. This is a game where you want to try and fail and try and fail and try and win and try again. And I have every expectation that Hades 2 will live up to its Olympian standard of quality.
Yeah.
But for now, Hades is the best roguelike game of all time, in my humble, mortal opinion. And if not, strike me down. Or comment your favorite in the comments, either one works. So until next time, I'm the Green Scorpion, and I'll see you all in the... Oh, come on!
Oh, I get that so much, Scorpion. I get that. But yeah, roguelikes. What a fun genre. And a fun genre, like I said at the beginning of this video, that I have surprisingly found myself getting more and more into. Why? Why am I getting poked? But yeah, a genre I've been seeing myself getting more and more into. Like, I bought into the Gungeon, which I'm excited to try. I want to try out more, like... but yeah, everyone in the chat and everyone in the comments, please tell me what are your favorite roguelikes and why? Was it on the list? Was it not on the list? Like, he didn't talk about Loop Hero, but that was still like a fun...
If only he had been careful.
Indeed. So, besides that, just as always, original video will be in the description below. Also down there you will find links to my Twitch here on twitch.tv/JohnnyFerno if you want to see me watching these things live. There will be links to my Twitch, to my Twitter, my Blue Sky, and my Discord if you want to follow up on whenever I do anything with either video uploading or streaming. Do not follow Susie's instructions. But thank you also very much for watching, my dear friends. Here are my amazing patrons who are still here with me for some reason. And if you want to support me as well, there will also be a link to my Patreon in the description below. But until next time, my dear friends, thank you also very much for watching. Say goodbye, YouTube. My name is JohnnyFerno, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Wait, Johnny, what? What do you mean? Wait!